Welcome back. I'm back. You're back. Hey, we back. Welcome everyone to this episode on the Ultimate Sports TV, guys, and most importantly, welcome to this edition of Ultimate Questions, the Q&A / mailbag segment where I answer your NBA or NFL based questions, guys. We got a lot of great questions to answer today on the show, and if you want to get your question on the show next week or in the next couple weeks, guys, just make sure you're subscribed to the Ultimate Sports TV and make sure every Monday or Tuesday that you go to my community tab section and you see every Monday or Tuesday this prompt that says post your NBA or NFL Ultimate questions here, and just make sure you put it under the correct date so I know you are applying to have a question in for that date, people. But that's how you get an ultimate question on the show, people. But let's get to these ultimate questions today. But wait, before I get to that topic, please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Ultimate Sports TV, because if you are not subscribed, you're missing out on so much, people. This is the hot spot. Get lots and lots of hot from the Ultimate Sports TV spot with NBA and NFL content. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and join the TOS TV squad. Then when you're done with that, please like this video for me, share this video and YouTube channel, then comment down below your reaction to all of these questions down in the comment section below, guys. But now let's get into this week's Ultimate Questions, people. Let's hop into it. Alright, people, this first question comes from Mr. 14, and they ask, is a finals win this year more important to Giannis, or is it more important to CP3? Now, this is a very intriguing question here, knowing what's on the line for both players. When you look at CP3's situation, though, he's gotten to the finals, and we know that all time he's a very good point guard. But in order to be cemented as a top 5, top 4, even top 3 point guard of all time, Chris Paul has to get a championship this year. He has to get a championship. And if he doesn't get it this year, knowing that Father Time is catching up, knowing he only has so much time left in his career, it is so very important for Chris Paul's legacy, knowing how much time he has left, which is not a lot, that he gets a finals win this year to cement himself as a top 4, top 5 point guard of all time in the NBA. So this finals win this year is way more, not way more, but it is more important to CP3 than it is to Giannis. And when you're looking at Giannis' situation, knowing Giannis has 2 MVPs, knowing that he has a Defensive Player of the Year, knowing that he's really one of the most dominant players in the league right now and will continue to be, this championship could be really, really important to him as far as looking at his resume when it's all said and done. If he gets a championship this year, and we even look at him now, it'll be incredible to look at Giannis knowing he has all those accomplishments and also has a finals win. And not to mention, he is also injured this year. So if he wins an NBA Finals this year injured, knowing he made a large impact, and he's already made a large impact stepping in Game 1, it'll be really, really impactful to what we say about Giannis at the end of his career. Knowing he has those accomplishments and knowing that he has a finals win if he does get one this year, also knowing that he played injured, it'll be super, super impactful to what we say about Giannis later. Although it is very, very impactful to his resume, though, CP3 has more on the line as far as his legacy goes, and he has less time to win a championship, knowing that he is getting older. So CP3, this finals win this year, it's more important for him. Now let's get to the next question. That was a great question there from Mr. 14. Alright, this next question comes from Marlon Hicks, and he asks, which NFL team do you think will exceed expectations this upcoming season? Now, there's a lot of teams that I could put in that category, but I'm going to say it's the Saints. Now, you lose Drew Brees, and a lot of people are down on you. A lot of people are saying, well, the Saints are not going to make the playoffs. Well, I'm going to rebuttal that and say they will. Now, I know people have their doubts about Jameis Winston, knowing he's thrown 30 interceptions before. But look what he has around him. He has a great offensive line. He has Michael Thomas, who is probably the most reliable receiver in the game and can catch a lot of balls for you. And you have probably the most versatile guy in the game in Alvin Kamara. And you have a great play caller, a top 3 head coach in Sean Payton. So Jameis Winston is in a great situation around him, and when we look at the Saints team as a whole, looking at the other side of the ball, they're still going to have a top 5 defense this year. So other than the quarterback position, everything is set. But when you have that worry, it is at Jameis Winston, but you don't have to worry a lot because of what Jameis Winston has around him. And this is a guy who has thrown for over 5,000 passing yards before. He can sling it. He just needs a good offensive play caller that'll help him along the way. And I think Sean Payton is the perfect guy to do that. The success for the Saints starts at the quarterback position, and I think Jameis Winston will be really well set up to really excel as the Saints quarterback this year, already knowing what the Saints have on that team. So I think the Saints are a team that will exceed expectations this year. Alright people, next up, Mixbolt asked me who are the top 4 disrespected players in the NFL right now. Now, I'm not going to name it from top to bottom. I don't really know how to do that with the most disrespected players, but these are 4 of the most disrespected players in the NFL right now. One, it's Keenan Allen. No one ever puts him in their top 10, although he's probably the best route runner in the NFL. Although he does not have that speed, he has everything else, and he's a very, very reliable receiver. Another guy is Lamar Jackson. I saw someone the other day on Twitter compare him to Daniel Jones. That's absurd. Daniel Jones is not even in the stratosphere of Lamar Jackson. And PFF did not even put Lamar Jackson in their top 50 players in 2021. So that's bogus. And they had him as their 10th ranked quarterback in their top 10 quarterbacks in 2021. So that's ridiculous. People need to stop hating on Lamar Jackson. The way he changes the game, the way he plays is transcendent, and it really separates him from a lot of other quarterbacks in this league on how he can win the game for your team with his legs and with his arm. Another guy is Baker Mayfield. They like to call him a game manager. They like to say he's replaceable. We've seen Mike Tannenbaum on Get Up the past few days say that Baker Mayfield is replaceable. Look, he's not. Have we seen the misery that the Cleveland Browns have been through with these quarterbacks? Look, he's not replaceable. Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. Baker Mayfield has had 2 pretty nice seasons with the Browns as their quarterback, and we know what happened in his second year. He had a clown coach, and it messed everything up. Last year when he went on that tear and that stretch, he only threw 1 interception. He threw loads of touchdowns. He threw more and his team won more, and he had better stats. And he was a crucial guy on 3rd down. And we saw him in that Pittsburgh playoff game and in that Chiefs playoff game. His defense just needed to show up. So Baker Mayfield is disrespected for no reason, and people give him too much slander. And the last guy that I think is very disrespected is Michael Thomas. Look, people like to say he's overrated. He just gets force-fed the ball. Well, if you're a bad player, you're not going to get force-fed the ball. The only reason Michael Thomas is force-fed the ball is because, one, he is kind of the only option on his team, but he's the best option on this team by far, and the kind of player that he is just dynamic. When you put the ball in his hands, you're going to get the yards after catch. You're going to get some dazzling plays. This is the reason he has 1,700 yards. When you put the ball in his hands, he's going to do something with it. He's not overrated. He's just a very, very, very reliable receiver, and he's still a top 10 receiver in my mind. But those are the most 4 disrespected players in the NFL right now, people. Nice question there from Mixbolt. Alright, this next question comes from Sheila A, and she asks, DeMar DeRozan or Kemba Walker, who would be the better option for the Lakers right now in a trade? Now, it would be DeMar DeRozan. You cannot trust Kemba Walker. Although it's very, very sad that the guy keeps getting injured, you cannot trust him to stay healthy. You can't really trust him to show up in those big moments. DeMar DeRozan has shown up in those big moments. He's been a leader for a team. And if you add him to LeBron and Anthony Davis, knowing what kind of offensive player he is, knowing what he can do on defense, it'd be really, really good for the Lakers, and it transcends their team. I really like the look of DeMar DeRozan on the Lakers, but it's really more so over him or Kemba Walker. It's really DeMar DeRozan because you can't trust Kemba Walker in those big moments. When you have DeMar DeRozan, who doesn't really get injured like Kemba Walker does, and knowing what kind of player he is, it's him over Kemba Walker. He's a more reliable option. He's a more really kind of star player. If you're looking at that option, I would choose DeMar DeRozan if I was the Lakers and we're looking at 2 of these trades. Alright people, this next question comes from TKM, and they ask what 5 NFL veterans will have a career year and make a jump this season. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to name Mathew Stafford. He's a player I think will make a big jump next year and have a career year with the Rams. He's finally in a perfect situation for him to thrive and for him to win. He has a good run game to keep other teams off the field and make him more of an efficient quarterback, and he also has the weapons in Tyler Higbee. He has Robert Woods, and he has Cooper Kupp. He has Cam Akers in the backfield as a great running back, and he has a good offensive line and a great play caller in Sean McVay for him to be a better quarterback. Not only is Mathew Stafford a good quarterback, but when we look at what's around him this year, there's no cause for concern to say that he's not going to be a good quarterback and is going to get better. So with all that he has around him, I think he's going to be a better quarterback and finally get what he deserves with weapons, making him into a better player. Now, when we're looking at some other players, I look at A.J. Brown from Tennessee. Now, he has had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, but it's not an 1,100-yard, 1,200-yard season. I expect to see that from him this year. Look, when your team goes out to get Julio Jones, that means you're going to be throwing the ball more. Although the Titans are going to stick with that run-heavy offense with Derrick Henry, look, they're going to pass more. And when you have Julio Jones on your team, who is really recognized by defenses, that's going to give A.J. Brown more opportunities, already knowing what kind of star receiver he is, but knowing that sometimes you're going to leave him on the side only single cover. That's scary because not only do you have Julio Jones to worry about who you're doubling, but you have A.J. Brown on the other side who you're single coveraging from time to time again, and he is getting matchups and he's eating on the side. Baker Mayfield is a guy who I think will have a career year. It's his second year in the system. OBJ is coming back, and I think this year he will improve as a passer because his offense will evolve, and Kevin Stefanski, in his system, Baker works in it, and he'll get better as a passer this year, and his numbers will go up. And the guy who I think will probably improve the most out of all of this list is the guy who is already a top 10 corner, and you see on the screen right here, that's Denzel Ward. Now, yes, he's a top 10 corner, but he will get better this year. He's already a great corner, but he's going to elevate this year. Now, last year, he had to do so much on that Browns defense and not only focus on what he does best, and that's press man. And that was because the Browns had so many holes in their secondary that they had to cover up with Denzel Ward, knowing what kind of superstar corner that he is. Now, this year, they added John Johnson, they have Ronnie Harrison, they have Grant Delpit, they have Greedy Williams, they have Greg Newsome, and they have Troy Hill. Those are a lot of guys that can make plays for you in that secondary. Now Denzel Ward does not have to be everywhere on the field, and he can focus on one position, and that is playing press man coverage. And when he does that, that is when Denzel Ward is his best. So that's going to cause for more plays where you get more interceptions, more passes deflected. And before he went out for a 4-game stretch last year, he was the corner with the most passes deflected last year. So when he does what he does best this year, which he is going to do, knowing he has more time to really do what he does best, knowing that the holes in the Browns secondary are patched up, Denzel Ward is going to get to shine because he is doing what he does best. And he's in a contract year, and all players play well in their contract year. So I think Denzel Ward is going to play incredible and out of his mind this year and insert himself as a top 5 corner by the end of the season. Great question there from TKM. Other than that, people, this has been this week's edition of Ultimate Questions. Thank you to all the people who submitted questions this week. If you want to do it next week or any other weeks, guys, just make sure you go to my community tab section. Make sure you're subscribed, but make sure you look at the right prompt that says the right date, that says post your ultimate NBA or NFL questions here to get them on the show for whatever date, and just put your ultimate question down below on that prompt for the correct date. They come out every Monday and Tuesday, guys. But other than that, this is Malik Hicks, aka The Ranker of the Ultimate Sports TV, signing off. Had fun this week. Peace out, and I'll see you on the other side.